I came to the Valley in 1997. Came here, to be general manager at Milk Growers, working for my father-in-law. And about a year after I started, my secretary, Abby, got a phone call from Buell Hawkins, and he asked what charitable organization I was serving on. That not any of that I, know of. That was obviously a very good lead-in for him. And so then he contacted me and said, well, are you interested in WAEF? I'd heard about WAEF, didn't know that much about it. He explained, we had a meeting. I immediately jumped aboard and became a board member. And I think it was 98 or something. And I stayed on the board for, I think 17, 18 years, a long time. Enjoyed it. And I think what particularly drew me to, why WAEF from any other charity is the education part. The need for financial support. I come from a country where education is pretty much free. There's a very small tuition fee, and this is the Netherlands. So it's a lot more open to anybody. Obviously, if you would go to college, you still have to support yourself. But even that, there's state scholarships for that really help. Whereas here, you're pretty much on your own, and if you do not have the financial support from your parents, it can be a tough deal. And I myself was in a situation, I lived in this country, I went to school here, I got my master's, and just before I started that program, my father passed away, so I was kind of on my own myself. So knowing the need for support was kind of the one thing that really thought, WAEF and I, we have a connection. I became active in scholarships actually more after I left the board. I think at the end of my board membership, I started that and did that for a number of years. And really, that's probably the biggest eye opener. It's a tough job, takes a lot of time, but it's also the most grateful job. You really, you get to dive into people's lives and see their needs and really feel like you want to help those people and want to help those talented young people and get them on a start. And that's probably, again, that's one of the more gratifying things, I think, the scholarships. When I came to Stemilt in '97, there was already a Stemilt golf tournament, and it'd been there for a few years. I think it started in the early '90s, and it was a tournament really for the people that worked at Stemilt and some of the suppliers. And those suppliers were kind enough to basically sponsor the tournament, prizes, and often also the cost of the tournament. At the time, it was at Rock Island. It was the lowest cost. It was at that time also just a 9-hole golf course, and it was just a really low-key deal. We did our own barbecue there at the place, and the prices were a bunch of golf balls or whatever, small things, and it was more of and a lot of the the players, they would play golf once a year in that tournament. That's something that probably still happens to some extent, but for a lot of people, this was their golf outing. And so that kind of kept on going. What happened in 2008 is that, Tom Mathison passed away. Robert Miller, he was running the trucking department. He had been doing the golf tournament together with Steve Shiflett for all those years. After Tom passed away, Steve was not, no longer there. And so Robert and I were kind of working on the golf tournament. He came up with the idea to make it a memorial for TK Mathison. And so that was in 2009, I think we started that. Relatively small scale. We had evolved from Rock Island to 3 legs, and we've been in some different golf courses. And then in 2010, it took off. I had left the company, or I left the company that year, and Jay Fulbright came on. And Jay is quite the golf fanatic and really into it. And he made the tournament kind of into what it is, getting funds for the WAEF, but not really to the point where it has been in the last few years. And it changed from 3 legs to the Wenatchee Golf and Country Club, and it changed a little bit, but the core of it has always been the same. It's still sponsored mostly by suppliers, whether it's the box people or the banks or anybody that really has a relationship. A customer relationship with Stemilt is spoken to by the people that cherish that relationship or care for that relationship to see if they want to be part of that tournament. And since it has evolved from just a fun thing at Stemilt to a scholarship tournament. It has, and not only that, it is really an industry event. It's kind of like, basically similar to WAEF, where it's the mingling of the people that takes place. That's the most important part. The same thing is with this milk one, and it's the salespeople talking to the people, other parts of Stemelt. So it's intercompany still, but then obviously the suppliers, everybody that participates has to pay their own green fee, and so a lot of the Stemelt, employees actually are big sponsors in the tournament. It has such momentum now, and it's become just an annual event that, and because its cause never changes. There's always people that need scholarships. It's not like the building you were trying to build or the football field you were trying to get. Those are great causes, but the end, they're done. This one never ends, and everybody knows that, and everybody looks forward to the next tournament. And so that's been a really great run. We tried to honor Tom. Obviously, he didn't dictate how the scholarship should be spent because he didn't know that anybody was going to do that. This was not in his will, but we definitely think that if he would have been, if somebody would have discussed it with him, he would have, been very positive about it, and he would have liked to, something like that to have happened. He probably would not have liked to have his name so much attached to it because he was quite modest. But other than that modesty, what really, if you looked at him, he was an entrepreneur in the first place, and he was an innovator. He did not finish high school. He was not educated, but that because part of that is because of the Second World War. He joined the army at a young age and went to Japan, and that was a big part of his education. His management style was definitely from the military. It was tough love management style, but what he cherished is people that have that entrepreneurial spirit, people that try to do things in a different way, in a better way. Look for some solutions. He hated people that came to him with problems without having thought about what to do about it. If we look at the scholarship, I always like to think that have that in mind. Don't necessarily look at the kid that has the highest grades, but somebody that has adversity and overcame adversity and is doing that not only by working hard, but looking for different and new ways. And then obviously another part of that is how to innovate in our industry. He always looked at that, and so if somebody is not just looking to be an innovator, but the way of growing apples, packing apples, or industry in general, that would really be a top choice. Stemelt, we make it known that we support WAEF, or as an organization, not just with the TKM scholarship, but also in other ways. It supports our values. We have similar values, obviously, and I think it's just doing the right thing. One of the big things that is a selling point for WAEF is that very little money goes to the administrative side of it. Most other charities you can give money to, you don't know, maybe 50% or less actually ends up in the hands of the people that you're hoping to give to. That's not the case here. There's right now so many more scholarships. When I became part of this organization, it was a fledgling little thing. It was just started by the Apple Commission. It was just starting to get on its own feet, and now it's something that's sustained itself. It's tenfold or more than what it was at that time, $1 million in scholarships. And I feel that there's still so many young people, kids out there that don't know, and that's sad. You hope that word is getting around that this is please apply. There's a deadline. It's March 1st. I know you may not even know for sure which school you go to, but that doesn't matter. The application form allows you to have that choice still open. You have not heard from the schools or from all schools. So, but that deadline of March 1st, that doesn't shift. So please, get your application in and do it now.